quorum. Let us call the meeting to order, and I think the first order of business would be to, is it to announce the next meeting, and what date is that, please, Stephanie?
The 25th.
The February 25th.
February 25th in this room at 8:30, and I think next is roll call, is that correct?
Swear in staff.
Swear in the staff. Would anybody here from the city who is going to speak today, please raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So say I do.
I do, Stephanie Kensler.
I do, Adam First.
Great, thank you. And next order of business then, I think, is to, oh, yeah, good. Thank you. I'm trying to do it from memory. I usually look at the board there. Let us go ahead and do the board roll call, please.
Right. Mr. Whitman,
Here?
Mr. Loversige,
Here.
Ms. Maniaci.
Here.
Mr. Slanik,
Here.
Mr. Pongonis, Ms. Brown. Here. We do have a quorum.
Okay, we have a quorum. Very good. Let's go on to the overview of the hearing format, please.
City staff will present the staff report in the application materials. The applicant will come up to the presenter table and they will be sworn in and asked to present any additional materials. If we have any registered speakers, they will approach the podium and be sworn in, and each will be given 3 minutes to speak. And then the commission will discuss the case and ask any questions if need be.
Okay, very good. And can we have a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting, please?
Can we, before we get to that, can we do the public forum?
Oh, yes.
Mr. Bates to speak.
Okay, fine. Otto, would you come up? Please.
Good morning, members of the commission. I was honored last evening to be appointed by Columbus City Council to serve as the city councilman for District 7, which includes downtown. With that in mind, I have submitted a letter of resignation to the mayor resigning from this commission. That resignation has been accepted. So I'm no longer on the commission.
Well, that's,
Serving with you. And again, it's been a joy to serve with all of you. I've learned so much from each of you, and I'll take that experience and those learnings to city council. Thank you.
thank you very much, Otto. We also enjoyed the number of years with you. How many years were you on the commission with us then? Do you remember?
It would be 3.
3.
It would be 3.
Very good. Well, we appreciated everything you've done with us along the way. So,
Thank you.
and best of everything going forward.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All right, I guess now we get to go to approval of the minutes. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. And is there a second? Second. Okay, any questions, comments, additions, deletions? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and those opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. I guess we go on to the cases then, please.
Yes. Second. All right, our first case is a continued application from last month. This is COA 2400574 for 59 Spruce Street or 475 North Wall Street. This property is located on the block bounded by Spruce Street, North Wall, and Vine Street, directly east of the existing North Market. The application was last reviewed by the commission at the December 2024 meeting, where it was reviewed prior to the approval of the Historic Resources Commission. The Historic Resources Commission has since approved the application, and the applicant is now seeking downtown commission approval to install 2 LED illuminated roof signs on the building's north and south elevations respectively. The sign will measure approximately 53 feet wide by 26 feet tall and be mounted to a steel mounting frame, which will be attached to the elevator overrun at the top of the tower above the roof line. Submitted materials include renderings, a site plan, sign details, section details, mounting details, and elevation. The downtown guidelines do not have specific recommendations for rooftop signs. However, they recommend that corporate tower skyline signs identify the name of the building or major tenant, and that the signs are proportional to the building height and mass, as well as compatible with the building architecture. The proposed graphic is consistent with the downtown guidelines, and here are the materials submitted by the applicant. Here you can see the night rendering, the sign from the different elevations. Here's the text.
This is the same as what we saw last month.
It is, the HRC made a minor modification, adding a third, rail here on this, I believe it was on the, it only had two, the other type 3, so the HRC did make that modification. And here are the details of the power supply and the mounting details for the sign.
By the way, I point out that you said the height was 26 feet, which sounds very large, but that's for 3 sets of letters, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments on this? What's the pleasure of the group? We kind of really have seen this, and I thought we had,
I think we were pretty positive.
yeah, I thought we had said aye. What, is there, anybody want to make a motion of any form, please?
I'll move approval.
There's a
Second.
motion to approve and a second. Questions, comments, anything from the audience, from the group? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
To clarify, that was a motion by Mr. Loversich, seconded by Ms. Maniaci.
No. Sonia?
Okay, thank you. Still learning voices.
No, no problem at all. Okay, very good.
Sorry, my papers are all over there. Here we go. Okay. All right, so the next case is our first new application, COA 2400633 for 20 South Third Street. This property is located at the northeast corner of Third and East Capitol Streets, directly east of the State House. The applicant is seeking commission approval to install a 6-foot by 13-foot, 11.5-inch halo lit channel letter raceway sign. Existing halo lit letters are to be removed from their previous location at 495 South High Street and mounted onto black aluminum raceways. New LED lighting will be installed in the existing letters, and the backs of the letters will be repainted to match existing after the removal is done. The raceway will be mounted onto vertical steel columns of the building. The letters are to be installed 30 foot from grade. Submitted materials include sign details, mounting details with existing site photos, elevation, a site plan, and the zoning report. The downtown design guidelines recommend that wall signs be proportional to the building in which it is attached and not obscure significant architectural details. The proposed graphic is consistent with the downtown design guidelines. And here are the materials. You see the dimensions of the sign here with that raceway and how it fits to the building. We have a rendering here. And then we have the mounting details. And then the site plan showing where the sign will be on the building. And then that zoning report.
Okay, very good. Could the applicants come up, please? Good morning. Good morning. Would you kindly raise your right hands? Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do.
I do.
Very good. And could you identify yourselves for the record, please?
Yeah, I'm Colin Brinkman. I'm with Day Night Sign Company. Tom Morano with Edwards Companies.
Very good. Go ahead. Do you want to, here's the question I have looking at this.
Sure.
What I think we're seeing is the framework or whatever's going to hold those letters up is behind the glass, right? So what you're really going to see is just the letters kind of on top of the glass. Is that, am I seeing that right or understanding that right?
You'll see the letters and the raceway.
So the raceway is on the outside of the glass
Correct.
as well.
Yes.
Okay. And what is the height? I can't read that dimension on there.
The height of the letters?
Yes.
It's 6 foot. Yeah.
Okay. Is this the color you're intending, blue? So it's
an existing sign.
So it's kind of an understated thing though, really, if it's gonna, is it good, does it read like this then?
Yes, yeah, we pulled everything off of the old
Well, I
drawings that they
understand that, but
had.
it's, I just want to understand what we're gonna get when it's here then. So it's blue, is that?
Yeah,
that's the color you're
yeah,
gonna have?
exactly. Yes, yes.
So my question is, how does this fit into all of the rest of the stuff going on in that building? We've got that restaurant.
Right, so
On
we
the
have
left-hand
the,
side, you've got the overhead walkway, coming down the other side. There's an address sign, I think maybe we've already approved. What other signage can we expect on this building?
Well, so there will be some signage for the restaurant, which would be on the left-hand side of that building, and that's on that screen that sits out proud of the building. On the right side is where the beer garden would be, that kind of wraps around
Right.
underneath the elevated walkway, and we're just not there yet on signage package on that yet, so I don't know. But I mean, so really the only other signage at the moment is the Lucy Lucy for the restaurant, which is on the screen wall.
Will there be a building identification sign? Other than the address?
There will probably just be on the overhead canopy, just the number address, which was kind of what we did on the PNC building.
Right.
Just the numbers.
Any other questions, comments?
I had a comment. The original building that this signage was on was a little taller and proportionally I think it looked better. And here, I think it's a little bit outscaled, but I understand, there's not much you can do about that. And I'm wondering, because you have the restaurant addition in front of that, if you've looked at, maybe moving the sign to the other side, or do you feel that would just lift a lot with the nice stairway and other things that are happening, on that side of the building, that are, the overhead garden walkway. I'm just concerned, like when you look at this picture here,
Right.
this looks like from the street level, it might be very busy. You see this restaurant sign and then you see the other sign above, which will be really be outscaled. So that's just the point. And then I was also wondering, we have it looks like the white trim around the letters.
Yeah.
And that's not in the same plane, is it? That's a little bit behind the letters. So I'm wondering, maybe in reality, the sign will look slightly smaller because the outline is not really in the same plane.
Right, and that's for the halo illumination, so it shines back on a backer
Oh,
panel instead of like into the, and that's how it's existing already as well. But yeah, that's really there. I like that it's there already as well because it's existing, but yeah, just so the light's not shining into the office area. And it's not just the illumination's all funky kind of with it not being,
So it'll be illuminating against glass, right?
it will be illuminated against the light blue backer outline around it. So there's a backer panel behind those letters that it stood off of, then that's where the
Like
light
that.
will shine.
Good.
Yeah.
I don't think to me, it's not really out of proportion there. I mean, if it goes to the right or to the left, what you're showing here doesn't really show this thing that you're gonna put there for the restaurant section.
It doesn't, no.
But that's still gonna happen though.
It is.
But I mean, even if it wouldn't happen, I think,
Well, we don't like it centered. I think it looks.
no, I agree,
odd
I would
centered.
agree 100%.
And to the right, I think the elevated walkway, there's that little elevator tower there that has the lift in it, which is kind of tall. I think that becomes busier on
And
that.
that's really kind of two stories, right?
I think left is
I
better.
And on the left is one story. Yeah, I kind
I
of
think left is.
I'd go with left,
But,
but
yeah, because what's going on the right is even busier.
It
more
is,
dense,
yes.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
any other questions or comments for the applicant here? What's everybody thinking about? Tony, you're being quiet down there. Sonia?
Yeah, I don't have problems.
Yeah, no problem. I was gonna do a motion to approve.
Okay, well, please do if you'd like.
Motion to,
We'll put it on the floor. Say again?
motion to approve.
Okay, there's a motion to approve. Is there a second? There's a second. Okay, any other questions, comments, thoughts? Anything from the audience? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those approved, opposed, say the same sign. Motion is approved. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I think that's blue. So that kind of, it's not too aggressive.
And it is maybe on the left, what do you think about it?
See up there, you can see where this started. Okay. Thank you. Next case.
All right, our next case is COA 24-00301 for 360 South Third Street. This property is located at the southeast corner of South Third Street and East Mound Street and is the former location of the United Way of Central Ohio. The applicant is seeking commission approval to demolish the current structure and in its place construct a 5-story multifamily residential building named Aspire. The Aspire building will have 82 units, 67 parking spaces, first floor amenity space, a client services office, and a 5th floor outdoor covered amenity deck. Materials include brick veneer, metal panels, and aluminum or vinyl windows. The current building was constructed in 1969 as part of the Market Mohawk District. It is not registered in the Columbus Register of Historic Properties, nor is it on the National Register of Historic Places. The Columbus Metropolitan Housing Authority completed the Section 106 review process and executed a memorandum of agreement with the State Historic Preservation Office in June of 2023. The applicant was last before the commission at the October 2024 meeting, where the commission was generally supportive, but recommended providing an outdoor green space and requested that planning staff receive a copy of the updated MOA. Planning staff did receive an updated copy of that MOA, which reflects the updated design and requirement of downtown portion approval. Submitted materials include existing photos, demo plans, site plans, landscape plans, floor plans, roof plans, elevations, perspectives and renderings, sections, building materials, electrical diagrams, material cut sheets, and the updated MOA. The downtown design guidelines state that a COA be issued for a proposed replacement use or building prior to the issuance of a demolition permit. They note that maximizing the investment potential of a given site is encouraged, but so is preservation of existing building stock. Commissioners should consider if demolition would allow for new development, which in their opinion is of greater significance to the character of the surrounding area. Further, the guidelines recommend unique design expression, lighting that minimizes light spill, first floor transparency, high quality and durable materials such as traditional masonry, landscape that complements the overall development, and rooftop structures that are complementary to the principal building. Staff notes that a lighting plan has not yet been provided. The application is generally consistent with the downtown design guidelines. The commission will need to consider if demolition would allow for new development, which in their opinion is of greater significance to the character of the surrounding area, and whether or not the provision of a HAPS light report is needed. Here are the updated materials from the applicant. We have the existing condition photos. The proposed site plan. Here, some building details here. Landscaping details. Here are the proposed landscaping materials. Floor plans. Elevations. Perspectives. Sections. We have the lighting plan for the parking lot lighting. And we also do have, as stated, the updated MOU.
The updated what, please?
The updated MOA. My apologies.
Yeah.
It's right here. And then we did receive that via email from Erin Prosser, and she just provided a little bit of additional context that it is being routed for signature, but is not fully executed at this time. So we did include that just for your reference. And the MOA is here. So if you have any questions about this, the section regarding the design is on page right on here, 3 and 4.
Say it's not executed, is that because the design hasn't been approved by us, or?
No, it's not executed yet, just because there are so many different entities that have to sign it for signature. It just hasn't been completed yet.
And this is required because it's in the Market Mohawk area, is that right? Why, what is this? How does this come about?
The applicant would be able to better answer that question as to
Okay.
why the MOA was required.
Okay,
It's in a district that's been determined to be eligible for listing in the National Register, and there's federal funding involved that requires this 106 review.
Okay, thank you. Can the applicants, would the applicants please come up and join us? Thank you, and grab another chair. Oh, okay. Anybody that wants to testify, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do.
I do.
And could you identify yourselves for the record, please?
Bob Bitzenhofer, Vice President of Planning and Development for Columbus Metropolitan Housing Authority.
Good morning, members of the commission. My name is Anup Janardhanan with Moody Nolan.
Very good. Let's go. We've seen this a number of times. Trying to think about how to review this most effectively. What we're interested in is, I think, exterior materials and design. So if you could walk us through that, any changes or any modifications that you've come up with since maybe we've last seen it, we could talk about. She made a comment about windows being either, I think they were vinyl or aluminum. And have you specified the windows? When we do an approval, we like to be very specific. I don't see any samples here.
So
We'd
the
like to
windows,
talk about windows, we'd like to talk about doors, we'd like to talk about materials, please.
so specifically to answer the window question, the windows at the stories 2 through 5 are vinyl windows. The storefront windows are the aluminum storefront systems. So the windows are all vinyl windows.
Okay, do you have samples of those?
Well, we don't have samples of windows, but we did include cut sheets of all materials. So it's going to be the basis of design is a Pella 250 series vinyl window. One of the things that this project has to do, because it is going through HUD review, is that there is sound control measures that are required for the window. So it's a much higher performing window with OITC requirements. So it's a much nicer window than the typical window, because it has to meet the higher threshold for DNL requirements.
For the windows, is the color very similar to the midnight bronze that you're using for the fiber cement?
So we're going with the dark. It's a black window. The exterior is going to be dark. Black is what's been specified currently. It's a standard color of the manufacturer, and the interior is white.
Oh, the interior is white. You said of the exterior.
Exterior of the vinyl window is black. Yeah.
Hey, could we look at an elevation then and just kind of review the materials on the exterior, please?
Is this final approval today?
Yes, this is our 4th trip to the commission. So
Yeah.
we've had 2 conceptual reviews previously, and we are requesting a final approval for this.
And what's your schedule?
So we've already bid the demo drawings. So there is a apparent low bidder, and CMHA is going to the boat this month, in fact, tomorrow, Friday. So we'd like to get that going as soon as possible. The next board meeting is July, I think.
It'll be April and July.
So we are currently in advanced DD documents, and we're working with the city of Columbus with our civil drawings. Those are all being reviewed, parallel process, going through drawing, drawing through some of the other requirements of traffic and all that. So our goal is to start construction as soon as it goes through board approval.
Is this project federally funded?
Yes, and that was the reason for the section 106. So we're using,
Yeah.
there'll be some project-based vouchers on the property. And then we're also using other capital fund sources from
Was that
HUD.
affected by the president's order yesterday to stop everything?
Great question. We'll find out. We'll find out soon enough.
It was very vague.
Pardon?
It was very vague.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, well, I don't know that we need to contend with that too much every day, but
Rather than, we don't want demolition to occur if the project's not going to proceed.
Right.
So I think if there's a delay or anything like that in receiving, so the voucher funding isn't an issue that only come in once people are living there. It's the capital source
Right.
that would be first up, I guess, to be used. And I think CMHA would obviously step in as some sort of bridge loan funder if there's an extended pause in any of that capital funding not coming through.
Well, could you walk us through real quick on what we're looking at here on the materials?
Yeah, so
Yeah, go ahead.
So as Stephanie mentioned, we have basically three materials. The material palette on the first floor, it's all masonry, and we do have samples of the materials.
Yeah, let's
See those. We have two colors of metal panels. The dark metal panel is as shown in the elevations, and then we have the lighter metal panels. So these are two contrasting colors, and we took into account some of the information that was provided to us, feedback that we received from the commission in the last two meetings. The balconies are recessed. Those areas are treated with hardy, so there is a little bit of hardy material on the exterior, but the majority is metal siding, brick, and the windows are vinyl windows on the upper stories, aluminum storefront system. On the west side of the building, there was a feedback from the commission about providing a mural. So that side is all hardy because that gives us more flexibility on what type of mural that needs to be used. So this side, the bottom right hand elevation, that shows the west side elevation where it's all hardy, so that we have some flexibility on how we can treat that with murals versus putting murals on metal siding.
I had a question about the metal siding.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's available in different patterns, and are both of the light and the dark metal siding going to be the vertical pattern?
Yes. The goal is to have a corrugated kind of metal panel, so similar, or maybe like a variation, like limited to two types for the dark and the light.
I was understanding that you do not have your lighting plan, but Stephanie mentioned that you're showing the lighting for the parking lot.
Yeah, so our understanding in talking to Belkis earlier was, we would have the signage and exterior lighting as a separate submission to the commission. We fully understand the requirements of the commission, so using cutoff fixtures and limiting lighting, no spill. So obviously, we want to definitely come back to the commission with signage and the minimal exterior lighting that we are showing. But the design intent is to have lighting similar to what is shown in the rendering, very warm light.
But you are showing us the lighting for the parking lot, right?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I had a question also. What's your treatment of the sidewalks around there? Does that meet the sidewalk standard?
Paul out of edge, they
Sure.
meet the downtown street safe standards.
You say it will?
Yes.
Okay. Other questions? Is this signage, you'll come back on the signage, right?
Yeah, so
This is kind of, let us call it almost conceptually what you're thinking about.
correct. The signage, in fact, is not shown on the elevation sheets. This was a previous rendering, so this was just
I'll render.
a rendering.
We'll call
Yeah.
it conceptual.
So we will come back with signage that's shown here. I think there are two signs that are shown on the building. We'll come back on the signage.
Guys?
I
Question?
just
Jana.
had one other thing, screening. So I had three questions about the screening. Are you having any screening on the top for the HVAC, or do you feel that's not necessary?
So we looked at the elevation. We looked at the perspective. The reason we added perspective views was just to look at the building from the block over, and we don't feel the need to have screening just because of.
If you're standing on the street.
Yeah, so these views kind of explain that, but the elevations do show the heights of the actual equipment.
And then also you have on Third Street, you have the generator, and it looks like you have an 8-foot fence and then some landscaping in front of it. So is the idea that the landscaping will be the main camouflage for the generator? Because the landscaping is not too.
So there's a masonry wall on the Third Street side for the generator enclosure. So that the Third Street side has an 8-foot masonry wall. Yes, and then the other three sides are fencing, and then there is a landscape in front of it.
I see. Oh, that's great. Okay. And the same for the dumpster, that's also mason, well, around the dumpster enclosure?
Yes, that's all masonry. Yeah. That's not 8 feet, that's 6'8" for the masonry, and for the other wall, it's 8 feet.
And what kind of, is it similar to what you have on the first level of the building?
Yes, our intent is to match the brickwork, with the same type of.
And what do you have running along the south side and the east side of the parking lot? Is that some kind of fencing or?
On the south side, there's a decorative metal screen that does the work for the parking lot screening.
And how tall is that?
Because
48 inches?
Okay,
Yeah,
3 foot,
it's-
this
yeah,
kind of thing,
yeah.
okay. Any other questions on anybody, from anybody?
Is there an outdoor like green space area as part of the design?
There is no defined outdoor green space, and this was one of the things that came up in previous conversation. So, and I think Bob, you explained how parking was very important to all CMHA properties. Do you want to kind of take us through some of those?
Sure. So, yeah, first of all, this just kind of given the site characteristics we got, I think you said 67 parking spaces for 80 residents, and we want to, across our portfolio, we try and keep at least 1-to-1. Not try to go above that too much to overpark a property, but at least try and get as close to 1-to-1 as possible. And so that's why the site ended up the way it did, but also because we had the opportunity to do a space on the 5th floor, an outdoor space, partially covered outdoor space on the 5th floor is the kind of community space for the property.
Thank you.
Paul, how come the streetscape stops like short of the parking lot?
there's a sign bridge right there.
Oh, you know what? We talked about that the last time. Yep. Yep, okay. You're right.
Where are we talking, please?
Right in the corner there on the
On
bottom.
Yeah, okay, I see. Yeah, yeah.
And I guess where you have, like where it says number 19 on the lower left-hand corner, you really, like if you, you need that space to the left of that, right, maybe for cars backing out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. Yes.
Okay.
I think it's a great project.
Yeah, any other questions? I mean, I think we've seen it. What's the pleasure of the group at that point?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion is on the floor. Any other questions, comments from anybody?
Oh, one thing, I was just wondering, with the MOA and then the talk about, perhaps the Habs Light report, is that something that will be done as well? I don't know if that's included in any of the requirements for the MOA, or if that's something that's separate, that would be something you would be deciding.
So we committed in the MOA to do a kind of a historic or documentation of the existing building as well as the rest of the neighborhood and submit a application for National Register determination for the Market Mohawk District. And so I think we consider that without calling it the Habs Light report, kind of to the extent of what that would be.
Okay,
It has
And
been,
that will
has that
occur.
been submitted?
We are, it's in process. I don't remember the exact step we're on.
So it will happen. then?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
In fact, the MOA has a timeline on when all
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
happening. I think it's been initiated, it's in process.
Yeah.
I think it's being reviewed. So there's like 60-day review period with SHPO. So that's,
They take forever.
yeah, so that's underway. Yeah.
and the last question is with the historic display.
Yeah.
Is that something that I'm assuming your firm, Rudy Nolan, is involved in the interiors,
Yes.
and they would be working with HRC for, working on the historic display.
Yeah, so we identified a prominent spot inside the building. It's right in front of the elevator, and we told SHPO that that's where it is going to be. But what it is going to be is not finalized yet because that comes later.
Yeah.
But definitely, our intent is to work with
Yeah.
all entities to make sure that we meet the requirements.
And the MOA requires that as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the commission? Anything from the audience, please? I saw a hand back there. Could you come up and join us, please? Morning.
Morning.
Could you identify yourself for the record?
My name is Roy Wenzel.
Okay, Roy.
Yeah.
Thank you. Go ahead.
My question is, and then maybe this is not the appropriate time, but is there an affordable housing segment to the building? Will there be?
I think you're gonna hear the yes answer, but I'm gonna let the applicant address that if you would, please.
So yes, the primary financing for the project is low-income housing tax credits. And so 70 of the units will be, the rents will be restricted. And so will the units will be restricted to folks making below 80% or 60% of the area median income. And then 25% of the units will have federal subsidy on them as well.
Excellent.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you for
Thank you.
joining us. Are there any other questions? Anything from the audience? Anything from the commission? Hearing none, would all those in favor say aye?
Aye.
And those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. I just had a
Thank you.
Just
question.
seeing it happen.
So we,
Now, excuse me, just a second here. On that motion, that includes demolition and approval of the building. Is that
Yeah.
correct? That's the intent.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
you answered my question. I was going to ask about the demo permit, so.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. Sometimes we try to be very clear on our motions here and so, but
Yeah.
yes.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. And you got it that way, Jeff.
I'll work with them to make sure that they come back with the lighting and things like that.
Please. Thank you. Okay, I think do we have one more case? Yes, we do. I know which one it is. Third Street is a busy thoroughfare these days.
Gee.
I totally transformed Third Street here. And this one we have also seen.
Okay. Our last case is COA 24-00121 for 132 South Third Street, which is located at the corner of South Third and East Chapel Street and was constructed in the 1860s with a rear addition built in the 1920s. The applicant is seeking conceptual feedback from the commission to retrofit the church building into a music hall complete with new graphics. This includes demolition of the rear 1920s brick addition on the east elevation and building a new addition where the existing addition and surface parking lot are currently located. This site is listed on the Columbus Register of Historic Properties and was reviewed and conditionally approved by the HRC at the January 2025 hearing, with the conditions being: 1, remove signage and mural from architectural drawings, as the signage and mural will come back for future hearing. The site plan should show and identify all site materials, and then documentation of the historic windows that will be altered to be submitted to staff. All graphics shown are representative, as this will be a separate future application. The applicant was last before the commission at the November 2024 meeting, where the commission was generally supportive of both the demolition and new construction. The commission noted that the southern curb along the plaza is low and suggested raising it to be used as the seating area, as well as to make the railings more substantial. The commission also recommended for the decorative lighting at the top of the tower to not be too intense. Since the November 2024 meeting, the applicant refined some design details, including the north elevation, where the curtain wall that separated the new addition from the existing building is now a solid wall with punched window openings. A grille was also added in the mural wall needed for ventilation. And then on the south elevation, the window headlight was lowered due to structural conflicts. Submitted materials include existing site photos, a context map, right-of-way encroachment plans, elevations, site plans, grading plans, floor plans, material details and sections, lighting plans, renderings, and material cut sheets. The downtown design guidelines encourage the preservation of downtown building stock, and in cases where demolition does occur, the reclamation of building materials for reuse. The guidelines encourage the adaptive reuse of buildings and recommend high-quality durable materials, high degree of ground floor transparency, and that rooftop structures spaces be complementary to the primary building. Further, they state that complementary design and materials are appropriate. The proposal is generally consistent with the downtown guidelines. We can go through the materials submitted by the applicant. Here is the existing elevations of the building. Here's some site context of the elevations. Here is that right-of-way encroachment plan. See the brick addition. Here's the floor plans. Sections. Renderings. And that is it.
Okay, is that it?
Yep.
Good. Can the applicants please come up and join us? Good morning. Could you raise your right hands? Do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So say I do.
I do.
Very good. And could you identify yourselves for the record, please?
I'm Brittany Catania. I'm an architect with Scully Caldwell.
Jason Gay with Kappa.
Okay, great. Just a couple points of clarification. You are asking for final approval today, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Want to get that on the table. Secondly, what she scrolled through on all of these elevation drawings, is that what you're asking for approval on?
Yes.
Good, okay. And again, we've seen a number of things. Just want to make sure we're all talking, we're doing apples and apples today. Okay, very good.
Mr. Chairman, just really briefly, is Mr. Lover's Bridge abstaining from this?
Yes, he has recused himself.
Okay, I just want to make sure that the applicant is aware of that, basically, because obviously it does lower their vote majority that they need on the commission with those who are not going to abstain from the vote. So
Okay.
before we proceed, it may be a good idea to ask them about that they still want to proceed knowing that he's abstaining.
Do you still want to proceed?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Josh.
And just
Okay.
to clarify, these materials have not been modified since you all for HRC, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. And okay, well, let's kind of, I'm trying to come to grips with what, because we've seen this quite a bit. Is there anything you want to tell us in terms of what might have changed or since last time we saw you? Or
The only change that was mentioned was on the north facade, the connection from the church to the new addition has a solid wall with punched openings instead of a curtain wall.
Well, let's just look at that quickly then. Can you turn to that? Do you know where we turn to that one, Stephanie?
I do. Good.
Just so we know what.
Yeah.
Oh, right in between there. Yeah, yeah. Oh, that was a solid glass wall. Okay.
Mhm.
I can't remember. Thank you. Okay, everybody's got that little.
I had a question about that, and I'm just wondering with the design intention of that, I know that that's recessed a little bit. So are you trying to just maybe make that recede and not call attention to it as much? Because I'm thinking that if you wanted it to be more of a design element, you might, think about a different color or, but I wasn't really quite sure if you could speak a little bit about why you made the change and what your aesthetic is on that, what you're achieving.
Yeah, we did want it to recede just to kind of break that connection with the church and with the rest of the addition. And that's not a primary stairway, so that's why we removed a lot of the glazing there. So
What's there now in the existing building then? And that connection between the two, because the one on the left is that building is there, right? And the church in the front is there.
If you go to the historic photos, you'll see the brick and the stone connection.
Here.
Go back to the previous one. It's a little hard to see from that angle, but right there, toward the left of the left photo, you'll see it's just the brick comes right up against the sandstone.
Okay, actually, I like it kind of dark and set back a little bit. I think that's good, because I like the idea that building in the back kind of stands a little separately. Okay. Other questions, thoughts, comments? Tony?
Is there overhead doors coming down on where you guys put dumpsters, kind of like recessed it in there? Is there gonna be doors that come down?
not for the dumpster area, but there are overhead doors shown there.
Right there. Is that an overhead door, the one on the left? There was one.
Yeah,
Well, these are recessed in, right?
right, yeah.
Mhm.
They get wheeled out,
Yeah.
dump them.
Yeah.
Okay, questions?
I had just a question and a comment about the two areas where you're proposing the murals. And first, if you could refresh our memory, what you plan those to be, what kind of murals? Are they temporary, permanent? Are they public art? Are they advertising? And what exactly do you have in mind for that and how they're adhered to the wall as well?
Yeah, I don't think we've selected the material or how they would be made, but they're intended to be public art, permanent public art with a public process that we would go through with GCAC. So both the north and the south elevations that you see are very visible from pedestrian, but also vehicle traffic. And we thought it was a great opportunity to take a bare wall and turn it into something visually dynamic that our local artists can participate in.
Great, so that will be something permanent and it won't look
Yes.
like it's applied or anything like that?
Correct. Yeah.
Can you see that? Don't you, I mean, isn't it obscured by the park?
Well, we're hoping that the park activity picks up with the connection to our building.
Okay.
The owners of the park have indicated that they really would like to draw more people to the park for regular use. So part of that in our mind is making this visual connection with our building as an event center.
Do you anticipate that that might be lit at some point in time or?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Is that on the property line or is that set back?
What's our setback?
It's set back a little bit, yeah.
But
It's-
pretty close.
It is pretty close.
Who owns the park?
It's owned by the Police and Fire Pension Fund.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Never knew that. And where's the other mural? You say two of them.
On the north.
Right there on that corner piece. Okay.
So the new vent, that will just be integrated into the
Mhm.
art.
Correct.
That is the other side of that wall is the fire pump.
And then you would do, what we're really doing is we're approving that as a place for art. Then you'd come in and go through the process of getting the individual pieces of art approved. Any other questions or comments? Anybody?
How about the lighting? Remember, we were talking about the lighting on the tower. And when you met with the HRC, did they have any thoughts about the lumen levels on that? Or, what would be appropriate or what they would recommend for that? Or any precedents that they have with applications that are similar?
They did have a question about that and they thought the lights were outside of the tower and that's kind of the look of it glowing, but it's actually all internally lit and that's where all the light fixtures are within the tower and they seem to accept that answer and didn't have any further issues with that.
This rendering is really what we envision it truly looking like, whereas the other one where it looks like the light is projecting out from those openings, that's not our intention. Our intention is really to make it contained.
So would you see in through the windows?
I suppose you could, there's some screening up there right now to keep birds out of it. So it's a construction mesh. So you would be able to see inside there and depending upon the angle, possibly the bell that's still up there.
Is there any intent to kind of illuminate the steeple tower itself or like wash lights on it? I mean, I see you show some lights at the bottom, but and it seems to glow a little bit there. Are you doing that in some form or another?
Yeah, all corners of the tower, we have a light there that illuminates, that washes.
So it
up.
washes up? Is
Yeah,
that the
just
idea?
like that.
Okay. Oh, I see. But just there, not on the walls, on the walls themselves?
We're trying to not penetrate that sandstone, come up with lighting methods that allow the sandstone to remain intact without punching a hole in it. So that's one of the challenges with.
Wonder if we could put something on the sidewalk, actually.
I like what you've done with the railing where you have the integrated light, the light underneath that will, I guess, wash down for the railing in the front. I think that's a very nice choice.
Thank you.
Okay, so what we're approving here is the building, but also effectively the lighting and the signage. So when you walk out of here, we're done with you, assuming you're approved,
No.
right?
No signage. We will submit that at a later date.
Okay, so, okay, so what we are seeing here is not what you're asking for approval on the signage.
If you go to the renderings a little further, we removed the signage and on the elevations.
Ah. So this Ambry
This,
thing is
yeah.
not what you're asking for approval on. Is that what gets built in there?
Yes.
We'll come back with,
What are the squares there and so on the top of the?
That's a metal panel. And the sign will go in front of that, but we will submit the signage at a later date.
Okay, and where are you anticipating there would be signage then? Just along the front there on that thing? Pretty
Yes.
much? Okay.
yeah, similar to those other renderings as a concept.
Everybody understand where we're
Yes.
going with this one then?
Is there also a demo permit too, or the,
We would need to demo the 1920s edition.
Right.
Yeah. So,
we didn't, yeah.
was that in the package?
Show us the port there.
Yeah, it's right there.
That thing gets
Mhm.
demoed, okay. Well, now I'm not understanding. Does that get rebuilt or that goes away? Just, that's not,
We're rebuilding in the same footprint.
I see,
That's that new addition.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
the red HVAC on top.
I see, okay. Questions, comments, thoughts?
I think you guys did a great job coming here the first time and then walking through the options and the evolution of the project. I think it's really great. I think you guys listened to us related to the plaza and the step ups and the ramping system. I think that, the front of it's very clean now. You can be used for lots of different events and spaces, collection space. I think the back, that addition reflects pieces of the architecture. I think you guys end up doing a really nice job.
Thank you.
And therefore,
Yeah, motion to approve.
oh, okay, motion to approve. Okay, and there's a second, so the motion is on the table.
And just to clarify, that motion is for the demo and the
Yes,
design.
is that correct?
Yes.
That is correct.
Yes, the demo and the design, and it would include basically the lighting.
Lighting.
And they're gonna come back on signage. Thank you. That's, we do need to be clear on everything over there, just for the hell of it here. Okay, so there's a motion. Any other questions or comments? Anything from the audience? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Thanks
Thank
so
you very
much.
much.
Yeah, when do you get started? We want to see some action.
Yeah, we hope to go permanent within the next couple months.
Great.
And then hopefully starting in
Okay,
late
well, that's
spring,
exciting.
early summer. Yeah.
It'd be fun place. Thanks so much. Well, I think at least for today, we're done with our rehabilitation of Third Street here. From Broad to the freeway. Anything else, Stephanie? We're done with, we need to approve the staff approved items. Could we have a motion to do that, please? Okay, there's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second,
And there's a second. Are there any questions or comments on these items? Okay. Anything we need to know about particular on these? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, those are approved. Any other new business here?
Our election of chair and vice chair for 2025.
Okay. Now, Stephanie made a comment. We're low on folks. Do we want to wait till we have more people to do that? So we can put it off to the next, or we could do it. It's up to you. I saw a nodded head, yes.
or both.
Okay, we're hearing more folks. Okay, so we'll put that on the agenda for next month. Great. And then, is there any old business for us?
Nope.
Okay, good.
We get a motion to continue that just because your bylaws actually state so just.
Okay, good.
Can we have a motion
I
to,
move that we postpone the election of officer to next month.
great. And is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Jana, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, continued. Thanks, Josh. Anything else we need to do to be official here?
No.
Officially.
Okay, I guess if nobody else has anything else, we stand adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.
Sorry I was late.
New Year.
No, not at all.